Welcome back to another segment of King County Law Library's What to Expect When video series. Our guest expert today is Eva Cuneo, who is the program manager in the civil unit of the King County Sheriff's Office. Welcome, Eva.
Hi, Rick.
Thanks for being here. Really appreciate it.
Sure.
Today, Eva's going to give us really important information about, or some tips about working with the Sheriff's Office when you're involved in an eviction process as a landlord. So, Eva, first of all, what's up with self-help evictions in Washington State?
Well, Washington State does not allow for self-help evictions. So if you have a tenant that is not moving out and, the lease has expired, you've served proper notice, and they still are not leaving, Washington State requires that a court order be directed to the sheriff to remove an occupant. So if you need an eviction, you need the help of the sheriff's office. And what's interesting is Washington State also does not have municipal police departments carry out evictions. That is something that the sheriff's office is tasked with, along with service of other civil court orders. So you can think of the sheriff's office as kind of the law enforcement arm of the superior court. If they order something in a civil case, typically they're ordering the sheriff to take some action, and that includes evictions.
Okay. So just to reiterate, even if my property is in federal way, for example, when I want to if I need to do an eviction, I don't reach out to that police department. I still contact the sheriff.
Correct.
Okay.
Right. It would be a civil lawsuit that would need to be filed in King County Superior Court. If property is north of I-90, you're filing that in the Seattle court location, and if it's south of I-90, you'd be filing the case in Kent, the Regional Justice Center in Kent.
Okay. Just out of curiosity, how many eviction processes is the sheriff's office involved in these days?
Yeah, well, we have court-ordered evictions, which is probably our highest. It is our highest volume of cases. We also serve protection orders and handle orders involving real property and personal property in civil cases. So we're talking about like writs of execution on debtors' personal and real property, writs of attachment, and repossessions of personal property as well.
You guys are busy folks.
We are, yes.
So what does the sheriff need prior to enforcement of a writ of restitution? And this is need from the landlord.
Yeah, so we have an intake sheet on our website, and I think you'll have that available for folks on this call. But yeah, most common question is what do we need? What does the sheriff need from a landlord or an attorney? And we have, like I said, this intake sheet posted to our website, and it goes through each and every item that's required by the sheriff prior to enforcement of a writ. And I can go through each of these requirements. The first is we need a copy, or we need the original writ, the original writ of restitution. And this is a writ is signed, the original is signed by the clerk of the court. So we need that original. And some of them are electronically signed, some of them have an ink signature. It depends on how that writ was issued, but we'll need the original with the clerk's initials. We also need a copy of that writ for each named defendant in your case. So on the caption of the case, you'll have a number of defendants listed. We'll need a copy for each of those defendants, including et al. Or all other occupants. So include a copy for that entity, that individual. We need, moving on, in the writ itself, we need extension language that allows the sheriff some additional time to serve and enforce this writ. Because of the volume of cases that we are experiencing, we need additional time. So we're asking for writs to include extension language, allowing us a total of 90 days to serve and enforce that writ. Now, we may not need all that time, but right now that's what we're asking for. Next would be a copy of the court order. Now, this is your order or judgment in favor of the plaintiff or the landlord in the case. We need a copy of that. It's signed by a judge. Next, we need the request for storage of personal property letter. Now, this is a letter that the form is available in the statute under 59.18.312. So if you look up that RCW, you'll see the form for that notice that you need to provide to the sheriff. And really, it's a letter that needs to be served to the tenants or attached to every service copy of the writ that tells them what their that provides them a way to request storage. Okay, so we want to make sure that we're serving that, and it's up to the landlord or attorney to provide us with that form.
Okay. And what about? I know the sheriffs are going into spaces that they need information about. So what about the location of rooms, that kind of thing?
Oh
Is
yeah,
that something
yeah.
that's important?
It is very important. So if there is a home, if the property is let's say it's a room and it's just they're renting a room and a home, okay? Super important that the writ be address specific. In other words, if we're evicting simply somebody in a bedroom of a home, that bedroom needs to be in the writ, needs to be address specific and particularly describe that room. So
Yeah.
hopefully the room is numbered outside,
Mm-hmm.
so that we know exactly where to go to enforce that writ, because we have to
Okay.
serve the writ and then we come back later to enforce. So very important that it be address specific.
Okay. Make sure you get it done right. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Next, and we'll get into more detail, we'll need a completed sheriff's eviction data form. Now, this is a form that we ask all landlords to complete, and it just provides us with all the required information to serve and enforce that writ.
And just a reminder for our listeners that any forms and links that Eva mentions will be included at the end of this video.
We also, on a civil court order, we require fees. The sheriff charges fees for service for almost everything other than service of protection orders. So this will require fees to be paid in advance. The fee for service of a writ of restitution is $162 plus double mileage, and we can on our website, again, there's a restitution fee schedule. So you can look up the city of your eviction and you can see what the fee is, the city or the zip code if it's in the city limits of Seattle.
Okay.
And then last on our intake sheet, if there is a common entrance to the property, this is like let's say a condo building with a common entrance that we need to access so that we can serve or post that writ, we need to be provided with a key or the access code. So that needs to be delivered to us along with everything else on this list here.
Okay. And if that's delivered to you before the officers actually come on site.
Exactly, right.
Okay.
So we need to, prepare a complete service packet for our detectives, and that includes a key, and that includes all of the items that I've just reviewed here.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Eva. This was really, really helpful. I really appreciate you taking the time to come in and do this with us.
Yeah, sure.
Take care.
All right, thank you.
Bye-bye.